Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the patience. We are little bit late, but it's okay. Uh, I'm CR Shali Salvi, moderator come host for today's webinar, and we are delighted to welcome you all in this webinar organized by the Commercial Law Economic Advisory and NPO Committee of the ICI. And it's my pleasure to moderate today's webinar, which is on the professional opportunities for chartered accountants and environmental laws. In short a while, we will start the webinar with the speaker, sir, C. Anil Kumar Agrawal, sir. And before starting the webinar, I would like to appraise about the Commercial Law Economic Advisory and NPO Committee of the ICI. This committee is focused to encourage chartered accountants to make strategy and policy that unlocks economic, financial, and social value. One of the core area of this committee is to serve the multifunctional task of analysis, knowledge dissemination, inputs to regulator on policy formulation, to develop and publish technical guidance, background materials, etc. And to create awareness for the professional opportunities for the chartered accountants in commercial law, economic advisory, and NPO cooperatives. Our eminent speaker, Sri Anil Kumar Agrawal sir, will share us the insights for the professional opportunities available in the environmental laws. We hope that this webinar will unlock the door for the various opportunities available for the members. Let me introduce our speaker, sir. See, Anil Kumar Agrawal, sir, is a fellow chartered accountant, but he is not only a chartered accountant, he is also a CMA and CS. His qualifications also has feathers of visa, FFD, and LLB. In addition to his practice, Anil sir has served as a member of various committees of the NIRC of ICI and has shared his knowledge as a speaker on the cooperative at many seminars and CP circle. Anil sir is also very active in community service, holding leadership roles in the organizations like Marwadi Yuva Manch, Rotary Club, Agrawal Vikas Manch, and so on. His experience and commitment to both his professional and community are truly inspiring. Anil Kumar Agrawal sir, please enlighten us with today's topic. I would like to announce something that last 15 minutes of this webinar will be the question answer session. Participants can put their question in Q&A box. That will be answered in last 15 minutes. Anil Kumar sir, please. Anil sir?
I think there is some technical glitch. That's why sir is not. So can you wait for 2 or 3 minutes more?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, please.
Sir has joined us. Welcome, sir.
Can you close this?
Yeah, sir, you can start.
Yes, Anjali, can we start?
Yes, sir, we will.
Yeah.
I think some technical glitches and sir's hands in sharing the PPT. Welcome, sir.
Okay, can I start?
Yes, yes, you can start, sir.
Okay. Yeah, welcome all the participants in today's webinar First of all, I would like to thank you, the committee, for inviting me and giving my thoughts on a particular topic, which is assigned to me on this particular day. These are the regular series of the webinars which is being holding by the committee for the enhancing the knowledge of the members in a particular field, like cooperative and NGOs. So today, I was given the directions or request to enlighten the members about the professional opportunity in the field of the cooperative areas. So friends, as you are aware, what is, yeah, what you are not able to see my picture? What? Okay. Yeah, now it is okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So, there are very less professional who take the cooperative area as a very interesting area in their practice. Whereas the cooperative area is a very vast area where a chartered accountant can set up his own practice, and you cannot believe that even you can do the cooperative area as a separate setup of your office. Even you can busy yourself in work which are all related to the cooperative. In cooperative area, there are a lot of opportunities. I'm going to deliberate on various opportunities one by one. As you are a chartered accountant, you are very well aware that for a cooperative society which is registered in a particular state, or whether it is a multi-state cooperative society, there is a need to get the accounts audited every year. So being a professional, you have an opportunity. Being a chartered accountant, you have an opportunity is to, first of all, apply for an empanelment with the concerned state registrar. If you are able to apply and get your firm name empaneled with that registrar of a particular state, normally you are eligible to get your firm empaneled in that state where you have a head office. Sometimes, as per the rules and regulations of a particular state, even you have a branch office in that particular state, your firm is eligible to empanel. So I'm assuming whether you have a head office or branch office, as per the policy of a particular state, your firm is eligible. Then, according to the category of your firm, like you are a category A, B, C, or in some states they are not making any category. You are empaneled as a chartered accountant who is eligible to do the audit of the cooperative society. Then either you can approach to the various cooperative society in your area, or registrar office will allocate the audits. There are two kinds of set parameters. The one parameter, for example, in Delhi, here you have to approach the cooperative society, because the cooperative society, like a company, has been given the autonomy to select the auditor from the panel maintained parties. So in that case, of course, the cooperative society has to approach to you, and they will request you to accept their offer to conduct the audit as an auditor. Then you have to accept, and then there is a documents, the acceptance letter, etc., has to be signed and submitted to the concerned registrar office for the purpose of records. Here, Some states do not provide any ceilings on the number of audits which a chartered accountant firm can do. Or in some states, there are certain limits which have been prescribed. For example, in Delhi, a particular chartered accountant firms can do maximum 5 audits in a particular year. Moreover, they also say that you can conduct 3 more audits of a lesser turnover society. In Delhi, they have set up a limit of, let's say, 5 lakh rupees. So up to 5 lakh rupees turnover society, you can do 3 more society. So as per your category, 5 plus 3 up to 5 lakhs. So you can conduct 5 plus 3, 8 cooperative society audit in a year. Then you can conduct the audit for a continuous period of 3 years. After that, there has to be a change in the auditors. But in some states, you are eligible to conduct the audit for so many years, or you can conduct the audit for 6 years. So that is depend upon the rules and regulations as prescribed in the Cooperative Act of that area, read with the rules and the directions or the circular issued under these act and rules by the concerned registrar of cooperative society. So this is one area where you can practice as an auditor. The only requirement is to get yourself empaneled. This second opportunity, that like in a company, if you are not an auditor, you can render non-audit services to your clients. Those are in cooperative sectors. Like some society may approach you for a maintenance of books of accounts. So, of course, you cannot do both the things, the maintenance the books of account as well as the conducting the audits. If you are not an auditor, then you can maintain the books of accounts on behalf of your client at the client place. So this is the another area that you can render your professional services in terms of maintenance of accounts. Then you can file the TDS returns also. The provisions of deductions of the income tax under the Income Tax Act, as far as the TDS provisions are concerned, are also applicable to the cooperative society. Of course, like the cooperative society is not required to deduct the TDS for the interest paid to the members, but in case the cooperative society is going to pay the fee to earn some lawyers, or they are getting some work done by the contractors. So of course, they have to obtain the TDS number. So you can assist the cooperative society as a professional in that area. And after obtaining the TDS number, then you can file the TDS returns for the cooperative society. So this is the third category of the service, which as a professional opportunity you can find. The fourth one is handling their taxation matter. For a cooperative society also, they are under an obligations to file the tax return. So for filing the tax returns, of course, they required an assistance of a professional. So this service can also be rendered by a chartered accountant, that they can look into these particular aspects. So because filing the returns, claiming the exemptions under sections 80P, filing the returns in time is the essential features now for claiming the deductions. And maintaining the correct treatment of interest which they are earning from the fixed deposit, whether it is a part of the income from professional or business income, or it is a part of income from other source. So that as an expert, as a chartered accountant, an expert in this field, you can advise your your cooperative society client, and based upon the line of activity in which they are and the source from which they are earning this interest, you can render your professional advices accordingly as a consultant, and then help them in filing their tax returns. So this is another area. The next one, in case they require obtaining the GST number. Nowadays, under the GST Act also, if in a cooperative society is raising a demand bill, excluding reimbursement of electricity and water, if the maintenance charges are more than 7,500 rupees per month, more than that, then if in the total collection from the maintenance is about 20 lakh rupees in a year, then they are required to apply for a GST number and charge the GST from those members whose maintenance amount is more than 7,500 per month. So this is another area that as a chartered accountant, you can assist your client in obtaining the GST number. Being an expert in this field, you know what are the requirements to obtaining the GST number, what are the documents which are required to be uploaded on the GST portal for applying the GST number. Then you can further assist your clients in case any further query comes and resolving those queries. So this is one area. And in furtherance to obtaining the GST number, then subsequently after obtaining the GST number, you can help your client in filing the GST returns. So similarly, as provided under the Income Tax Act, that you need to obtain a TDS number. Under the GST Act also, there are certain work which were earlier known as under the Works Contract Act, which have been, then comes under the VAT Act, then now it is comes under the GST Act. So you have to apply, for example, if you are giving some professional work, let's say if you are constructing a building in the cooperative society, then you have to appoint a architect. And if you are giving a fee more than 2,50,000 in a year, then you have to deduct TDS and deduct and deposit the TDS and then file the TDS returns. And in another example, let's say you are constructing a building, if you're a group housing society, cooperative society, you are appointing a contractor for construction of a building or for repair of the building, then in that case, your contract value is more than 2,50,000 in a year, then TDS has to be deducted and deposited. Similarly, your cooperative society client may require the assistance for depositing of reverse charge tax under the reverse charge mechanism. There are certain areas, if the cooperative society is taking and assistance from a lawyer, those societies not having any GST number, even though if they are taking assistance from a lawyer, then society has to obtain the GST number and deposit the RCM on the fee paid. Of course, the fees will be paid fully to the lawyer, but you have to deposit the RCM and then claim as an individual. So here also you can help your client or assist your client in the compliance under the GST. So here you can see you understood as a professional opportunity, you have an opportunity under the particular cooperative act of that particular state as an auditors. Secondly, under the income tax act also, you can assist the client for filing TDS returns, obtaining TDS number, filing tax returns. Now, I would like to add two more services under the Income Tax Act. That is the tax audit work. In case your threshold limit is more than the limit which has been prescribed under section 44 AD or 44 AB. So if you are crossing that threshold limits, then you are required to get your accounts audited under the income tax. So now, for example, if the total collections of the cooperative society is more than 1 crore rupee, of course, 44 AD may not have a much impact for a cooperative society. Those are not in contract or such a business. So if the collection is more than 1 crore, under that particular scenario, you have to get the accounts audited. If you are under such a area, you cannot term cooperative society only a area which is related to a group housing where the flats are constructed, or into thrift and credit society where the money is lended to the members. Cooperative society can be created in many areas. For example, your cooperative society can be in business, let's say for providing labors. For example, they have a member who has owning the trucks, so they are running the trucks under the cooperative society. Or the cooperative society may have any kind of business like procuring products of their member and selling it to the markets. So accordingly, the provisions of the Income Tax Act is also applicable to the cooperative society, whether you are required to get your accounts audited as per the threshold limit of 1 crore or 3 crore, whether you are doing digital payments up to 5%. So, like as any other clients, the provisions of the tax audit is also applicable to the cooperative societies. The tax audit services you can also rent. Another thing that's in case any tax notices comes to your client, of course, whether it is under the GST Act or whether it is under the Cooperative Society Act or it is under the Income Tax Act. So whenever these are, if let's segregate these area into two areas, one is the tax compliance area and other is the statutory compliances in terms of a cooperative acts. So let's talk about tax compliance area. If your client who's a cooperative society is getting some notices for under the Income Tax Act or the under the GST Act or under any other act in which they are into, which is as good as in tax. So you as an expert and the knowledgeable person being a chartered accountant in that area, having a expertise knowledge in taxations, you can also render your services to your client who is in a cooperative society. For example, let's say return have been filed and the scrutiny came. GST return has been filed. Now the show cause notice is received. So there is a field for you. You can represent on behalf of your cooperative society client. So it is in a good area whenever you look for an opportunity, a professional opportunity, so like you are looking for a company where you can render the services. So here the cooperative society is like a company also. Similarly, let's move ahead. These are the basically compliance under the tax area or the audit area. Now, under the Cooperative Act, there are various provisions where the chartered accountant can render his services. Let's take one by one. The one, the management can appoint you as an internal auditor, or the management can appoint you as a concurrent auditor, or registrar of cooperative society can appoint you as a special auditor. The first two things, as an internal auditor or the concurrent auditor, is appointed by the management. However, for conducting the special audit, the appointment is done by the registrar. So these are the few other areas where, apart from the normal audits, you can render your services as an auditor, being an internal auditors, being a management auditors, or being a special auditor. So when you are being assigned as a special auditors, you are giving certain directions by the registrar, because special audit is directed when there are certain complaints regarding the discrepancies in the accounts or audit. But as far as the internal audit or the concurrent audit is concerned, these are the regular audit features which is being done by a chartered accountant for the assistance of the management, because management would like to know that whether there is a compliance of the management policy or the compliance of the laws in real time. If you are being appointed as an internal auditor, then you are supposed to submit your report on monthly basis. If you are appointed as a concurrent auditor, you are supposed to submit your report on a periodical basis. If you are appointed as a management auditors, where you have to submit the reports on a monthly or periodical basis, but in that reports, you have to report on the various provisions or the management policy, whether in routine operations, the directions are being done, or being done. So these are the area, like TDS, whether it's deducted or deposited on time, returns is filed, then whether if you are going for purchasing is being done, so whether the proper procedure as per the policy is followed or not. So whether purchase order was issued, how you are getting the requisition for purchase, etc. So there are directions of the management that this is the process being followed. How you are doing, accounting, the stock accounting. So these are the areas. So in case of companies also, the chartered accountant used to follow these kind of things, and they assist the management in doing so. So these are the another audit areas which chartered accountant can adopt or render assistance to the cooperative society, the stakeholder of the cooperative society, or the management. Management, of course, is one part of the stakeholder, but a stakeholder generally referred as who has invested the capital. So stakeholder also have involved the like government is also stakeholder, or the members is also stakeholder, management is also stakeholder. So from various perspectives, reports are being prepared and submitted So these are the areas. The another area, the another opportunity area is you can get yourself empaneled as an arbitrator. So chartered accountants are eligible to apply under the empanelment as an arbitrator. So if you have a knowledge, a good knowledge in that particular law which is related to the cooperative area. So of course, there are disputes between the management, between the members, basically. So arbitrations cases are filed before the registrar, and if these cases are deemed fit for going ahead for arbitration, then the case is allocated to the either the advocate or some retired government employees who are gazetted officers earlier, or the chartered accountants whose name is appearing in the panel list of the registrar as an arbitrator. So you, as a chartered accountant also, because institute is also uh, enhancing the skills of the chartered accountants to handle the arbitrations. So arbitrations are under the Cooperative Act or arbitrations under the Arbitration and Reconciliation Act. So here also you can render your services as an arbitrator. Now going ahead on various other opportunities. When there is a dispute between the members and the management, for example, the members has applied for a membership, but the management has refused. So then, as an expert of this particular law, you can help the members by way of filing an applications before the registrar. And you can represent that members that management is not granting the membership and they are violating the law, then you can represent your clients before the registrar and get a good order and directions to the management for accepting the application of the membership and granting the membership. So you can help in this way also. You can help in preparing the membership applications and the other documents which are required to be submitted. So these are the another areas where as a chartered accountant you can render your services. Apart from this, there are certain services like in cooperative sectors when there are disputes and disputes are among the managements. Disputes are, disputes among the members, disputes among the management, and disputes between the member and managements. So three kinds of disputes. So as a chartered accountants, you can represent either side of the party. If you have a good knowledge for knowledge about the cooperative law of that particular state, because more or less the law are similar in each state, but some state government has modified few provisions and put more conditions. So as an expert in this field, you can of course have a professional assignment from either from the management or from the members. So here, various kind of disputes are there, and you can represent either the member or the management and get a good order again. So you will be able to get a good order once you have a good knowledge about it. Because when you are arguing for an tribunal, whether it is under the Income Tax Act or under the GST Act, or under the Cooperative Act. So it is all depends upon your knowledge about that particular law. Only then you can argue well. So for that purpose, of course, you need to be in good knowledgeable person and more, I would say, expert in that field. So, you can represent well and win the case for your clients. So this is the another area. Now, few more services under the Cooperative Act, because there are, apart from the tax law, sometimes if your cooperative society is under doing certain business operations which may require licensing. So of course, when there is a licensing is required, let's say they may require get some imports of items, or or they may be in exports of the product produce which are being produced by their members. So they may be in export business also, or they may be an import business also. After importing, they can provide the goods to their members, which can help to grow either some product which is sellable in the. So when there is a such a kind of line, whether it is an export or import line, so of course you can help your client who is a cooperative society to get some import license, or when there is export, then whether you can help your client in some assistance, which may called, after the export, some, kind of government assistance, government assistance, like, some import benefit or some import license are granted based upon your performance. So as a chartered accountants, being an expert, you can help in that area. There are many chartered accountants who render their services in export and import area. So, like when you are exporting, there is a some difficulty in realization also. So, being an expert and knowledgeable persons in this particular field, being a chartered accountant, you can file the application before the authorized dealer or the Reserve Bank of India, in accordance with the guideline which is prescribed under the FEMA. Then you can file the application accordingly and get the waiver sometimes, depending upon what are the circumstances why you are not able to get the realizations of the export, or you can get export license, uh, not export license, import license, based upon the performance, export performances, or sometimes some financial assistance which government is announcing from time to time, that if you are exporting a particular product, then you will be provided financial assistance. Sometimes earlier it was called as a duty drawback, etc. But nowadays the naming has been changed and the manner have been changed at how you are going to get the some financial assistance. So as a chartered accountant, I can render the services, and my client who is the cooperative society, even they are into an import and export business. So because it is very clear that the cooperative society doesn't mean that they are a non-profit making companies. So they are, of course, a profit making organizations. The only thing that the purpose of the cooperative society is to work for the benefits of its members. That is the only prime criteria. But they can do business, whatever business which is permissible as per the law. So they can, it is basically a collective efforts of the members through the channel of a cooperative society. So any business can be done, and for that particular business, of course, the services of the chartered accountant in that particular business. And every business have a different dimensions where the various laws are applicable. For example, a cooperative society can also run a hotel. So in hotels, of course, there are various kinds of permissions and, then depositing of tax, sometimes what you call some tax whenever you are booking the rooms. So on a monthly basis, some like luxury tax, entertainment tax. So of course, need to file the returns for this. Sometimes you can render the services for payroll. So payroll accounting can also be done for a cooperative society. If the employees are many, then cooperative society need the services of an payroll experts. So as in a chartered accountant, of course, you can offer them to this kind of services also. PF and ESI's returns. If the cooperative society is in the business activity, of course, the laws of the PF Act and the ESI Act, these are applicable. So it need to be deducted, it needs to be deposited, and the returns has to be filed. So here also there is another opportunity that if you are working in labor laws related areas, so of course you can offer your cooperative society clients that these kind of services can be uh, offered by you, and your client can avail these kind of services. So this is the labor law is the another area. So if we go through and recapitulate the various areas which we have just discussed in last 45 minutes or so, that chartered accountant is specialized in various areas where he can practice. The client can be anybody, whether it is a company or a partnership firm or a cooperative society, because today our main subject area is professional opportunity, which we are looking for with the cooperative clients. So I have trying to explain you all these various areas. So where you can find. We can talk about few more areas. So of course they are, we can say, less known, or many chartered accounts are not into those areas. But whatever we have discussed till now, these are the areas which are more or less where the services are being rendered as a professionals to the cooperative society. What I'm trying to convey that whatever area in which you are practicing as a chartered accountant, it is not only confined to audit or filing the tax return. And even you are confined to doing the audit and tax returns, of course, the cooperative society also require your services. But as in a chartered accountant, you can render various other services, being other than the statutory audits or statutory taxation filing, we can say. So there are certain other areas, internal audit, concurrent audit, special audit, then management audit. So there are various areas. Apart from the audit work of taxation work, litigation work is also. For example, after filing the tax returns, there can be scrutiny case. After filing the TDS return, there can be some disputes of tax rate, etc. So, as an experts, you can render those services. Apart from income tax, also you have an opportunity under the GST Act, because GST Act is also applicable. So TDS is applicable, Income Tax Act is also applicable, GST Act is also applicable, export and import related laws, which is normally called FEMA, is also applicable if your cooperative society client is under that. Even sometimes some various labor laws are also applicable. So we have tried to, discuss and trying to find out the areas where we can render our services or where we can look for a professional opportunity. Apart from these area, of course, this is the cooperative sector. There are certain other areas like under the Cooperative Act, like membership dispute is there, arbitrations, as I just discussed with you, that you can empanel it as an arbitrator also. So these are the, apart from these, if you are little bit going uh, diverting from cooperative society, like for example, a RERA. If your client is in a builder and he wants to, incorporate a cooperative society and provide, the flats to the members. So, there are different law in different state. So, assuming, when a builder is constructing a building and he is enrolling the people as the members, and then he is incorporating a cooperative society and putting all these flat buyers into as a member. So in that case, since it is kind of private constructions, so various approvals which are required for constructions of a building, the chartered accountant can find out various areas either for your building, the builder clients or the member clients. So help them, your builder clients, in getting the RERA approvals, approvals from the various local authorities, like in Delhi we called DDA, in Bombay we called MADA, in some other areas the development authorities. So of course the main work is related to the architect. So architects knows drawings and all these things. But as far as the compliance of a particular law is concerned, I think nobody is best than the chartered accountant. So if you are a chartered accountant, then you can render these kind of services for your builder clients, who is automatically going to convert your this project into a cooperative society. So this is the new area from the last 4 or 5 years. Of course, though the law is old, but the more compliances, awareness has come in the past 4 or 5 years. So as a professional, you can also practice in that area. So these are the broad aspects where I would like to discuss. this. In case the participants who is having any queries, they can write on the chat box. So I would be able to answer the queries on that particular areas.
Till now, we don't have any queries. Participants are requested to post their queries in question box. So, sir will answer all the queries. So, there is a one query. It's
Whether I can see or you can read it out.
yeah, I will read it out. Sir. She's asking, um, you talked about the empanelment at the website or cooperative society of these states. So can we means how we get empanelment on that portal? Is there any portal or every state had such
Yeah.
thing?
You see, as far as the empanelment is concerned, you have to, you know, go to the various website which is maintained by the particular registrar of cooperative society of that state. So normally, whenever there is an empanelment, so they issue the advertisement. So whenever these kind of advertisement comes into your knowledge, then accordingly you can download the application and file the applications. So, or sometimes the registrar, when they started this kind of process, they normally write a copy, send a copy to the institutes also. So then for awareness of the members. So then you can get a knowledge about that there is an empanelment is going on. Sometimes, like for multi-state cooperative society, so multi-state cooperative society or the multi uh, cooperative banks. So they issue the advertisement for inviting, expression of interest from the professionals. So they get a list either from the institute, PDC cell, or out of that list, whatever is made available, they send, their communications to few of them or all of them and invite their office basically to respond their, you know, to respond their requirement of rendering services. And the services basically for which they are looking is mainly the auditing, sometimes for maintenance of accounts, sometimes for compliance of filing the tax returns, sometimes for filing the GST returns, or sometimes for all together. But of course, uh, as a chartered accountant, rendering the services as the auditors and for other areas. So I think non-auditing services you can provide up to a certain limits. So that can be done.
Let me see any other questions.
So any other questions? Any other query?
Yeah. It's Harika is asking, hello sir, can you please highlight the criteria required for empanelment in terms of minimum partners or other eligibility conditions? Any criteria?
Yeah.
She's asking about the
Yeah,
criteria.
I am just going to deliberate as an example. I cannot say it is universal for all the states. Okay. It is, depend upon state to state. So I'm giving an example for in Delhi. in Delhi, we have a set criteria that there are categories of the chartered accountant. The one condition is that you should have a head office in Delhi. Some, as I told you earlier, that if you have a branch office or a head office, you can conduct the audit of a cooperative society in that area. Or sometimes from outside also, the auditors can conduct the audits. But preferably it should be from or within that particular state. So this is the one categorizations or the requirement of the condition which you need to satisfy. The second condition, that based upon the magnitude of the cooperative society work. For example, the cooperative society turnover is, let's say, more than 5 crore rupees, the turnover. So if I talks in Delhi, they have made a 5 to 6 criteria, A to F, A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, a chartered accountant who is having one chartered accountant in the firm and who is a fellow chartered accountant only. So, or associate, sorry. So, associate will fall under the category of F. Then there is, there is a, if he's a FCA, then he can fall into E. Then if there are more than one chartered accountant, then they can fall into D. So similar kind of things. If you have two FCA, if you have a three FCA, if you have a four FCA, if you have a five FCA, so accordingly, your category is updated. What is the benefit of the category updation? That if, let's say, for example, I am a category auditor. So for A category auditor, I can conduct the audit of any cooperative society. If, let's say, I am a B category auditor, so the under the law, only A category auditors can conduct the audit of a society who is having the turnover more than 5 crore. It means if my turnover is 5 crore and more, then category B to F auditors cannot accept the appointment of that cooperative society, only the A category. So management has to approach only the auditors, those are falling in the A category list. So in Delhi, what is happening? There is a panelment for every 3 years. When there is expiry of empanelment, before 6 months, they start calling the expressions. They issue the empanelment form, and all category has all been stated. So what they required, you fill the forms and attach a constitution certificate from the institutes, which the constitution certificate provide the details of the details of your partners in the forms, how many FCA, AC are there. So based upon that, you need to fill, then they check, cross-check from the institute constitutions letters which is being get issued, and according to, they decide under which category you are falling. Of course, you have to keep in mind, if they have a condition in Delhi that you should have a head office in Delhi. If you have a branch office in Delhi or a head office in UP or Maharashtra, then your form will not be empaneled in any category. If you applying your for panelment, it will get your application will get rejected because of this particular aspect, that you are not having an head office in Delhi. So accordingly, each state may prescribe the various categories or various criteria under which the chartered accountants are empaneled. For example, the multi-state cooperative society. The central registrar of cooperative society has not called for any empanelment. They simply took the list from the CAG. So under the CAG, all chartered accountants, those are eligible to do the audit having the fee more than 5 lakh rupees, they are categorized as a category. They have given a list. They have not said this is A category or B category. They said we are having two sets of list of the chartered accountant firm. You can get the audit done in case your turnover is this much. Then you have to select from this category. This they are called major empanelment list or something like that, or the other. So they are prescribed that if you have that kind of business turnover, then you have to select from this list, or otherwise you can select from this. So of course, they may come for empanelment forms in near futures, but since they have just started and taken over the list of the chartered accountant from the CAG itself, because under the CAG, they have described the major auditors, because have major auditors means the auditors who can conduct the audits under the CAG, where the fees is up to 5 lakh or more. Earlier it was 1,50,000. Now it is enhancing to, I think, 5 lakh. So this can be done. So we have to be vigilant, and in which state you are, you have to having the knowledge of the main registrar office, that what is the kind of panel. Just look into the websites of the registrars. There are circulars or these kind of communications. So you will get the knowledge. Sometimes in the publications of your areas may come. Otherwise, you have to go on the websites. So this is like where you can the knowledge of opportunity of empanelment and the knowledge of the criteria. So next question.
So till now there is no any other questions. Let's we wait for minutes.
Actually, sorry, can you
Participants,
speak like, yeah,
sorry, sir.
yeah, I was not able to hear. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There is no other question, sir. Let's wait for 2 minutes. Participants are requested to put their question in question box if there is any query. So, sir will answer that.
hmm.
Meanwhile, participants are putting their question. Sir, I want to ask you that if there is any other source other than empanelment to get the work or to get the.
You know, as far as the empanelment is concerned, now there is a specific law. So in various law, the cooperative society can approach any chartered accountant in that area. There is no need for your name to be appear in empanelment. You have to be simply chartered accountant. Then the society can appoint you as a chartered accountant. Then you can conduct the audits. Then later the society can submit the reports.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are no more questions. So I think we can conclude the meeting. Let's wait for 2 minutes more. So if there is any question, and appear.
Yeah, we can continue.
Okay. There is no.
Yes, is there any
So
any query or some questions?
so till now, no questions. Yeah.
There is no questions.
Yeah, one question has come. Rajkumar is asking, Sir Rajkumar ji is asking, In some cases, a local body audit panel has CS without CAG empanelment based on the recommendations.
Mhm. Where I can see the questions exactly. Can I see the questions
Yeah,
directly?
sure, sir. I'm messaging you.
In some case, local body audit panel has CA, okay, without CG. Yeah, based on recommendations. You see, as far as the local body is concerned, we are talking about non-cooperative area. Of course, there is a particular department. For example, if I say when we go to stock audit, okay, so we can simply provide an applications to the management of the bank, and they recommend the application, and you are being get empaneled as a stock auditor. Sometimes some banks is specifically asking at a broader level the applications for a stock auditor. So they make an empanelment, and then as a whole, then they segregate on area wise that out of this total empanelment, if there is a audit, so in that particular state where you are situated, it you can. So as far as the local body is concerned, of course, if there is no law in that particular statute under which this local body is working. For example, I'm giving an example. In Delhi, we have a Delhi Park and Garden Society. What is the work? The work of the Delhi Park and Garden Society is to provide some financial assistance to the cooperative society. So whatever expenditure you are incurring on horticulture expenses, whether it is a salary on the Mali or greeneries, cleaning, putting plantation, etc. So they give you the reimbursement up to 60% of your expense. So they have a criteria that how much land you have. So based on that criteria and actual expenses you are incurring. So they have two things. Up to 1 acre, they will give you, they consider that this is the maximum financial assistance or 60% of actual. So now whenever the application is made by the society, so expenditures are required to be certified by the chartered accountant. So they say any chartered accountant can do the audits. Sometimes they make a panel. If a particular local body is maintaining the panel, if you have a knowledge that they are maintaining the panel, of course you can also apply. Sometimes the panel comes on a particular period, and the panel is not perpetual in the sense that it is ongoing process of paneling the people. But sometimes the panel is blocked for a particular period, and after the expiry of that period, renewals or the fresh panel is created. So it all depends upon that particular state as well as the authority, whether they are maintaining any panel of the chartered accountant, or simply you can get the audits, etc., or certification done directly from any chartered accountant. So it is as per their, the policies of that particular department. So local bodies can have a panel. It is not required that even for a cooperative society, there is no requirement that you should be empaneled with the CAG. Even for a banker also, when we do the bank audits, there is a no requirement that you should be paneled with the CAG. So panelment with the CAG is not the criteria. There is a different panel that the CAG appoints the auditor for an entity where the government has some stake. For private people under the Companies Act, the stakeholders appoints the auditors. Similarly, under the Cooperative Act, management appoints the auditor, but depend upon the directions under the particular Cooperative Act, that panel is created. There is a direction under the Act of rules that panel is created by the registrar. So that all depends upon the rules and regulations. So we cannot say for all states these rules are same, or for all authorities these rules are same. But I can say panel with the CAG is not the compulsory criteria. Generally, in Delhi, when there is a some government work, some government department here, so generally they prefer that your firm should be panel with the CAG, irrespective whether you are having audit or not. So that is the criteria. So criteria is prescribed in their policy. So I think my answer will satisfy the queries that CAG panelment is not necessary unless it is specified. Yeah, any other query?
No, sir, there is no any query.
Yes. Okay. So I think if it is permissible, then in that case, we can conclude. If the participants are satisfied and they have understood, I have no query. So I think we can move
Yes.
further.
Yes, sir, we can move further and we can conclude the session. Thank you for enlightening us on the opportunities available in the environmental law and in this webinar. And like me, I don't know about the empanelment to get the audit. So many of participants get knowledge that how to get empanelment, what is the criteria for the empanelment, and other things. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us on this topic.
Yeah, thank
You
you,
can conclude.
Amity.
Yes, sir.